Welcome back to my channel on Traders Forum. I want to be making analysis on DXY, that's the US dollar index. Every analysis we are making is purely based on dollar, gold, and every other pair that we are trading. I'm using what is happening on the UX market as my base to know what is going to happen on the other financial market. So for a long time now, I've been watching this DXY, that's the index, for over a few months now, and it's been trading on a very big support on a monthly chart. So let me just dive in on the monthly chart and show you guys what I'm talking about. Okay, so guys, this is DXY on a monthly chart. as you can see as you can see if you notice what's happening here, this is the base of the trend line, the first one, the second one, and the third one. But if you see what's happening on the third one, the dollar is weak because of the financial economic crisis happening in the United States, and it's looking like it wants to break this support because price have been rallying on this particular place, on this particular market price for a long time. This is over a few weeks that I've been watching it, but at the same time it looks like there wants to be a market correction and the US dollar wants to bounce back. But let's just go over to a weekly chart to observe this more. So as you can see, we are trading on a high resistance on a high support zone that wants to turn to a resistance. So let me just dive into a weekly chart and show you guys. So on a weekly chart on the same market, if you observe that chart, this white base trend line this is the white base trend line on the monthly chart that you saw. So when you come back here now, you see something interesting is happening. If you observe, something interesting is happening. So this market has been forming a support at night at 100 dollars. It formed the support again at 100, and it formed the support at the same place at 100. That is 3 consecutive times. Let me use an arrow and delete it so that we can understand what I'm saying. So this is the first place, this is the second place, and this is the third place. So if you watch, when it came here, remember this is the trend line, this is the trend line. When it came here, it wants to resist and it's still consolidating. But if you notice something, because of the economic crisis happening on the US dollar, investors are moving their asset to gold. Institutions, the banks, the Fed are cutting rates. Inflation is getting higher, and the employment rate in United States is becoming unstable. The employers are now sacking most of their employees. So this is causing a lot of economic and financial crisis in United States. So as a result of that, if you can see, price is rallying. This is rallying because this is a very strong support line, support trend line on a monthly chart. So it is difficult for you to break this trend line, but because of what is happening and the spike in gold, the US dollar has been very weak. But as of now, the price is still on the trend line, so we are still trading on the trend line. But if you observe something, it is rallying towards the downside. That means it wants to start forming a downward, that is a bearish trend line. That is from the trend line, from the support trend line. That's the white. I use white so that you can understand it. And if you see this price at 100, it formed another support zone there. So I use this rectangle, this orange rectangle, to denote it so that you can understand it. So if you observe from the chart here, I want to I want to increase this thing so that you can understand what I'm trying to say. So let's be observing the base, that is the bearish trend line that it is forming, because it's touched down here, came up to this point, touched down here, came up to this point, touched and came up to this here. So it's kind of forming a trend line. So if this break this white support base trend line, that means this our bearish confirmation on the US dollar is confirmed, and this is going to fall the more. But if this breakout out of this bearish trend line and then continues to break out from this rectangle support zone, that is only when we now confirm that the US dollar is back in action and it is a buy for all US dollar pairs. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, but I'm just trying to give you give you a general overview of what is happening, because this is the only place where you can understand what is happening in the US dollar market. So I just look at it here. So my main comparison is this: the pattern, the rectangular pattern on the support trend line, and this my bearish trend line that is forming. So this is two significant stuff, and then the white base trend line that has been forming for over the months. So let's see what is going to happen here. Will price continue to break lower below the white trend line, or will price spike above, and then price can spike above, then resist at this place because it has been resisting, and then continue falling lower because US dollar is weak in general. So the trend is bearish. We are on a bearish cycle for US dollar. That is what you should be looking at. What is the current market condition? What is the current market cycle? It is bearish, and that is what we have to focus. Only when this breaks above this rectangle, that is when we have to say, okay, now we have confirmed a bullish for US dollar, and that is when we will start looking for a buys on the Euro USD, the USD JPY, the gold, that is the XAU USD, and other gold pairs. So until then, this US dollar is weak. US dollar is forming a bearish pattern. So we have to be looking US dollar on a bearish pattern until something otherwise happen. It can come from maybe US dollar have regulated their inflation or whatsoever in the market has happened, and then the US dollar is back in the game. But for now, I just turned this thing to a lower time frame on the 4-hour time frame, and you can see something interesting is happening. These are those lines that I've drawn, and if you can see, I even placed a market sell just above here, but I'm not trading, I'm just observing. This is what should happen if US dollar still gets weak. So, and it's already showing that the US dollar might get weak. So if this actually plays out, the market will start falling back, and once the market falls below this trend line again, that means US dollar is just about to even start having a heavy downside, maybe in the next 2 to 3 months or even 4 months or whereabouts. So this is my speculation. US dollar is weak, and US dollar is on a very bearish momentum. So we should be we should be looking at a weak side against all US dollar pairs. So if you are trading any currency against the US dollar, you should be knowing that US dollar is weak and US dollar doesn't have momentum right now. So you should know your game and know what you want to do. So if you have not been following me or you've not been watching my video, this is my first video in this particular new channel, because this is a new channel. So just watch this video. If you have any misunderstanding, if you have any questions about your strategy or how I make my strategies and analyze my strategies, we can now discuss about it. Thank you guys.